As the wait for Orisa's arrival grows longer, the Overwatch PTR has again been updated with a number of balance changes to heroes to prepare for her inevitable descent onto the live servers. This time around, there's a number of buffs and a couple of nerfs to talk about. Let's go over the patch notes in depth to see what's changed, starting with Ana. Her biotic rifle has been decreased from 80 to 60 damage. Her biotic grenade received a nerf as well, decreasing impact damage from 60 to 30, and her impact healing reduced from 100 to 50. Looks like Ana's being hit again to prevent the return of the tank meta from becoming prevalent once more. Especially with Orisa's introduction, teams have been inclined to hunker down behind their anchor tanks and let Ana go to town with her heals. Toning down the healing on her biotic grenade again should counteract that and lessen her overall AoE healing efficiency. Her heals on the biotic rifle will make her much more of a spot healer and an off AoE healer to complement a Lucio player, which is probably more along the lines of what a sniper healer should be doing anyway. But honestly, I feel like reducing the damage on her biotic rifle was a bad move. People weren't complaining about the rifle's damage per se, they were complaining about the grenade. Moving on to Junkrat. He no longer hurts himself from his own explosions. Junkrat not damaging himself with his explosions may seem like a small change at first, but if he's able to do more point blank damage without worrying about killing himself, mind combos become much more dangerous to his attackers. It also makes it much easier for Junkrat to get attackers off of him without worrying too much about his own hide, especially in close quarters where the bouncing frags could potentially spell suicide for the crazy Australian. Orisa is already getting a nerf as well, as her fusion driver's capacity has been reduced from 200 down to 150 rounds, and her supercharger cost has been increased by 15%. As we noted in our guide for Orisa, the time between reloads was just too lenient and allowed most players to just sit back and dish out reliable damage. Toning down her clip size by 25% means she'll have to make sure she's safe or be a bit more mobile so she can reload and keep up with the DPS reliably. As for superchargers cost being increased by 15%, it's likely a change meant to make players think twice before using it, since it'll take that much longer before it's back up. After all, a 50% damage increase is nothing to scoff at. And if you're thinking strategically about when to use it rather than just throwing it out when it's up, you'll also likely be thinking more about placement for the supercharger as well. Otherwise, it just gets shot instantly and it's of no use to anyone. Next is Sombra. Her sound effects and VO distance for entering and exiting stealth has been reduced to 15 meters, and the cooldown on her translocator has been reduced from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. Sombra has long needed a buff to stay competitive with the rest of the attack heroes in Overwatch, and this one should help her without impacting her place in the middle of the pack in terms of DPS too much. It'll make it much easier to get her to strategically sneak in and out of position when using her EMP or hacks. Expect to see her cause some havoc against the more shield-heavy lineup, especially once Orisa hits live. Winston is next. For his barrier projector, cooldown now starts when the barrier is placed instead of when it ends, as is with the case with Orisa. Starting the cooldown of the barrier when it's placed means that this is a pretty big buff for Winston. Rather than having a full 13 seconds of cooldown after the first bubble goes down, it becomes 8 seconds until it's able to be used again, making it a decrease of a full 5 seconds. That's almost a 39% buff to the ability's active time, certainly more than it initially sounded like in the patch notes. Given Winston's popularity in the recent dive competitions seen in leagues like OGN's Apex, we could see a whole lot more of the ape on the ladder with this change. And last up is Zenyatta. Alternate fire on his Orb of Destruction has been reduced from 1 second to 0.6 seconds, and his Orb of Discord can now target enemies through barriers. Zenyatta's ability to cut through barriers with Orb of Discord means he'll be on pace to stay very much in vogue once Orisa goes live. Not only will he gain an advantage against her, but this also means that Winston and Reinhardt are now at risk. You could see Zenyatta showing up on far more kill feeds after this change. Not to mention, he won't have to break his ground as often to push past a barrier or shield just to get his orb placed on an enemy, which could make him a deadly line of defense behind a competent team. So what do you think? Will these changes push the Overwatch meta in the right direction, or is something in here going to need some more tweaking? Let me know in the comments. And remember to like and share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more Overwatch coverage. You're watching esports on PvP Live.